So, what is a typical initial consult with me like? What happens in an initial consult with James? This is James, Father's Rights and Resources, with the hashtag How I Got Custody. I use the hashtag How I Got Custody because I share with people how I got full custody of my daughter when she was 7 months old without a lawyer, and how I destroyed the mother's attorney who had 17 years experience and destroyed a guardian ad litem who had a decade experience and was a radical feminist man-hater who tried to set me up. And I found out later how she would try and set dads up for failure with a domestic violence tag on them. And I didn't fall for it. And I was pushy and demanding and on the offensive in my case. And it didn't matter that I hurt the guardian ad litem's feelings and the mother's feelings and the opposing attorney's feelings. And it didn't matter that I pissed off a judge for a minute in a court hearing. I pissed off a judge. A judge was mad at me and the mother because we were fighting early on in my daughter's life. And I was being aggressive and she couldn't believe it. And then I walked away with 5 days a week visitation with my daughter, who was um, one, two, three. It was 3.5 months old. Saw her 5 days a week, even though I didn't get overnights. It was so regular. It's way better than every other weekend because the frequency. And looking back, I'm glad about it. So, and I show you my winning orders. Tell me somebody out there who's showing you their winning orders and working with people. You're not going to find somebody like me out there. Countless people tell me they've been looking and talking. Judge Anthony was a judge. He was part of the system. He tells you some good information and he rips you off at $750 an hour. He has testimonials about the same rate I do, and he has 10,000 times more followers than me. That should tell you something. Family Court Corner, $250 an hour. She spent $100,000 and it took her 10 years to win in court. I got my daughter when she was 7 months old. And my case would have been even faster if I would have known the information that I share with you guys for free. And people still get pissed that I don't share enough free information. And then I get people who call me, and then when their time is up, they're like, oh, one more question, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And they always want to steal time from me. You would not be able to get away with that with an attorney. They would never talk to you again. And I still tolerate that kind of total disrespect because I still hold out hope for people who want to fight. Anyway, let's talk about a consult. So usually when I'm dealing with somebody, let's say you're in, I don't know, Florida. First thing we do, we talk about my flow page, which has a section called must see information. And I show you Troxel versus Granville, your constitutional rights. And the presumption that the court has to make. I show you how to tell the court, you have to assume that I act in the child's best interest. Not just that I'm not a bad parent. Not just simply I'm not an abuser. But that I proactively do stuff in the best interest of the child. You have to assume that about me. But you know what happens? Courts don't assume that. As soon as somebody makes an allegation, oh, these are serious allegations, so I'm going to take your rights away while we investigate. That's totally backwards from due process. But none of you, not one single one of you, ever stand up and cite Troxel versus Granville until after you see me talk about it. And even after you see me talk about it, only a few of you do that. So we go over that. Make sure you understand case law and how it works in Troxel versus Granville. And it's there for you to read it and study it yourself. I just point to the internet where it is for everybody to see. And then we go to your state and we look at the factors in the law. If you're in Texas, we look at the Hawley factors from the Texas Supreme Court along with Texas Family Code 153. If we're in Michigan, we look at the MSL? They have a presumption of frequent and continuing contact. If you're in Connecticut, I show you my links to Connecticut, which has not just the laws. See, judges in Connecticut, they've printed out the family law desk book or PDFs of all the factors in the law for determining custody with case law and higher court precedent. They've done the research for you, and it's right there. They saved you tens or dozens or hundreds of hours of research and put it right in front of your face. You got a big head start. I got several links like that. I have plenty of stuff in Washington because that's where I'm from. And there's Washington people who watch my stuff and don't even look at the free stuff. So we go over the leading case law or laws in your state, or how to find that stuff. And the law that you can look up yourself, and you can make a legal argument based on the law. Then we go over all the facts and the science and the data that say that kids suffer when fathers are not in the home. If you're a father, if you're a mother, there's some stuff that talk about both parents. And then if you got a lawyer, I'm asking you, what's the lawyer's strategy? Why are you doing what you're doing? What track record does your lawyer have? You guys don't even know. Think about it. Do you know how many times your lawyer has gotten 50-50 or full custody? If you're going for full custody, you know how many times your lawyer's gotten a dad full custody? If you're going for 50-50, how many times has your attorney got that? Are they showing you their track record? I'm showing you my winning orders. I won in the Court of Appeals twice against an attorney who retired with 50 years experience. The first time I beat him in the Court of Appeals, he had 39 years. Second time was about 10 years later, so he had like 47, 48 years. This guy was obsessed with me, and he was semi-retired, and he started working for free just to fight me and attack me. I've done a video where I've included him and shown you all my nightmares. People call me and say, I got a unique case. I got a crazy attorney. You wouldn't believe this. And then when we go through it, it's not even half as bad as what I went through. I was in and out of court for 20 years in my own case. I got 1,120 or so documents in my file. And then even after family court, I had to go to court and get a domestic violence protection order against some crazy chick I dated. And then she tried to retaliate and get a protection order against me, and I defeated her 4 times. So I got a nice little track record going here. I'm not just somebody who learned a little bit of stuff, like child support is fraud. That guy had a child support case. The kid was not his, and he won mostly because the kid was not his. And then he's running around selling a book for $100, how I defeated this. The kid was not his. That's how he won it. And then we go through all the details of stuff that work for me or work for thousands of other people or work for people like you. So we go through constitutional case law, the law in your state, case law in your state, resources, where the court rules are in your state, how to find stuff and get answers, and how to demand stuff from your attorney if you have an attorney, the rules of professional conduct, the rules of evidence, the rules, the code of judicial conduct for judges. And I go over whatever, and a lot of times I can't tell you exactly what, if you call me, what we're going to go over, because I'll be asking you questions like, why are you doing what you're doing? What's the long-term strategy? What are you going for? Why? Most of you can't even figure that out. So I'll talk about what's worked for other people and what successful attorneys have done when a dad lit a fire under them. And then I'll talk about stuff that worked in my case too. So we'll go into all kinds of detail that cover everything that you should know or how to find everything you need to know, and options on getting on the offensive and playing hardball like the other side is doing, or playing softball and trying to work with them, if that's the case. But the vast majority of the time, playing softball is a losing strategy. There's rare cases where it's okay. So that's a short overview of what happens if you get a consult with me and what we go through. And a lot of times I'll talk to people and I'll say, hey, have they violated your court order? Well, leading up to court, we got a court order before and the case was dismissed and we started all over. And then the history of the case is like this. Oh, by the way, I didn't get served right the first time. Like, if you can't answer certain questions and you ramble on and go off and you have a hard time listening, I'm going to have to kind of reel the conversation in so we don't talk for 5 hours. Every initial consultation is an hour and a half because that's how much it takes to get all these basics down. The Constitution, your state law, case law, the court rules, statewide rules, and local rules, and all kinds of different strategies and things and tools and weapons like depositions and things like that. It takes an hour and a half to just get some of the basics down. And most people are on overload, and they say at the end of a consult, my attorney never even attempted to share this much information with me. And then if you got an attorney, you'll turn around, you'll have some questions to ask your attorney. Sometimes I'll look up case law on Google case law and find an answer right there on the spot. You have this problem. What does the Supreme Court say in your state about this? Or the Court of Appeals say? And then we find it right there on the spot. Sometimes people have got answers on the spot with me that their attorney never told them in months or years. Just the fact that I got full custody and won without an attorney to show you my winning was enough to